exclusively on Radio Zero with your host today, Suli SP. We are Waves of Positivity, a community interest company who specialise in bettering the lives of 15 to 30-year-olds through events, workshops, podcasts, radios, and the etc. So today, the character trait that we are going to be speaking about is loyalty. Now, loyalty is the devotion and faithfulness towards a group, a religion, a culture, a country, but most importantly, what philosophers argue is to a person. I could somewhat agree to that in an extended sense, but what would you guys say about that? Would you agree as well?
100%, really and truly. That's what loyalty is.
Okay.
Yeah, for me, loyalty, like jumping straight into it, I see it as an extreme positive attribute. And I think that is something that's so rare and so special to find. So when we do come across it, we need to cherish it and treat it to the highest of standards. Definitely.
Adu, I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
When was the last time you were loyal to someone or something? And what does it mean to you about being loyal? Like, what makes it loyal?
So, the last time is pretty much every day. Like, I feel like I'm a pretty loyal guy. If I'm not a loyal guy, then you guys have to be wary of me. But yeah, I feel like I'm loyal every single day. I'm one of those people, when I find others that show me the same love, like I believe I've got a lot of love to give, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I find people I can be loyal to, like, I really do cherish it, like Hesse was saying. But I'm also not the most sociable guy, so I don't know how other people will cope with me. But in terms of me being loyal, I think all the time, every relationship I have, it's really important to be loyal. But at the same time, if someone's not giving me the same loyalty back, then I will tend to distance myself from that person.
Brilliant answer. SA, question for you. What does it take for someone to be considered loyal, in air brackets, in your opinion, from your perspective?
So, loyalty, it's got a lot of underlying factors. But to me, it goes hand in hand with honesty and realness. People who tell me how it is and tell me the absolute truth without trying to sugarcoat it or beat around the bush, those are the people that are loyal to me, because they understand that giving me the truth, the right information is what's most important for me. But at the same time, loyalty for me is when someone is constantly considering you. They are considerate of you and your feelings, and your interest or your best interest is always at their heart as well as their own.
Okay, those are two good answers. So talking about you, saying the last time you were loyal to someone or something.
Before we go into me, what about you, man? You haven't answered it, yeah?
Why you keep grilling us for, bro?
I'm not grilling you. I just wanted to know, like, yeah, two complete different questions. I was gonna actually cross it over, but for me, so the question to me is, what's loyalty to me?
No, so answer both of them, but in one answer, really and truly.
Okay, so for me, I would say loyal to the closest people around me, family, household, friends, but I'd say loyal to myself, man. The reason for that being is, like, a man of the saying, a man of your word. So if I tell myself I need to do something or have this done or better myself or perfect myself in something, I'm loyal to myself by fulfilling that. So that's my definition of loyalty. If you can't be loyal to yourself, I genuinely don't understand how you can be loyal to anyone or anything else.
I agree.
Yeah, and second thing is religion. Like, if you are loyal to your religion, which Allah has made so easy to practice, with so many hindrances that come our way every single day, if you can be loyal with that, you can be loyal with anything. Because,
I agree. I 100% agree.
That's a lifestyle. If you can be loyal with that all day.
I'm glad I asked you to answer the question. And that was beautiful.
You're glad you grilled me as
well. I have an extension to of what you're saying.
Please.
So obviously, firstly, loyalty to yourself. That's something that I believe in, hands down. Like, I will always try to be loyal to myself. If I make a promise to someone, that's me making a promise to myself that I'm going to fulfill that promise, if that makes sense. And if I'm not fulfilling a promise to myself, how can I expect to fulfill a promise to someone else? It doesn't make sense.
It just doesn't make sense. Yeah.
And
He's
you know,
copying you, man.
and like they say, yeah, like, don't play yourself. Do you know what I'm saying? If you play yourself, you're going to be playing other people, and if you're not looking after yourself, if you're not making sure that you're fulfilling your own rights, it'll be very difficult to fulfill other people's rights.
It's true.
And the second thing that you said, being loyal to your religion, as Muslims, we know that our first loyalty always lies with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if we have that loyalty in place, then all the other types of loyalties, the different types of loyalties that come into your life will automatically fall into place because of the religion that he set out for us.
Mm-hmm. That's beautifully said, actually. I agree with that. So talking about loyalty,
A little spice.
yeah, that's it. Little pixie dust. I want to talk about the positives of being loyal. Before I ask you guys about the positive side to it, I just want to make a point of how the trait of having good reputation and being honourable for being loyal. And I'm not sure if you guys have heard about it. When someone talks about someone else in a good way, there would be a trait of loyalty mentioned. Like, you can rely on him, you can trust him. He won't tell anyone about what you told him. He'll be helpful when he can. He'll support you in your successes. And for me, that's like the best positive you can get, reputation. Like, people will trust you and honour you 24/7 because you are loyal. You don't have to be loyal to them, but because you are loyal to the things around you, to your beliefs, to your country, to anything, any of the ethics or morals out there. If you're loyal to that, then, like, for me, you've got my respect. Do you know what I mean? So what benefits would you guys say that loyalty has, starting with Essay?
So loyalty, obviously, it brings around so many benefits. But even before that, we know that it's, like I said at the start, it's something that's absolute. It's an extreme positive attribute. So it's something that's very, very hard to upkeep and find at the same time. So with it being such a great, noble characteristic, it no doubt will bring so many benefits to you. Firstly, the people, the opportunities that it brings. If you are known to be someone who's loyal, that sticks to their word and does what they say they're going to do, then your reliability increases, and people will depend on you and ask you for help and come to you for advice. And not only that, when things go wrong or when things depict you in a bad way, then your loyalty will come to, and it will act as almost like a witness for you. If something bad happens, people are like, no, this guy is a loyal guy, he's reliable, he does what he says he's going to do, and it will back you in those times when you really need it.
Great answer. Just to, like, dig deeper into a personal aspect of it, what would break that loyalty in your opinion? If you trusted someone, not even trust, if you found someone loyal to you, yeah, let's say for example me or Adil or a family member, what does someone have to do to break that? And has it ever happened to you before as well?
So loyalty, again, it lies hand in hand with trust and honesty. So to break a bond of loyalty with me, you'd have to break my trust. You'd have to do something that makes me disbelieve in you as a person, or as your characteristics or your beliefs. So, obviously you get the white lies, or the small lies, and those small deceptions, which is fine. But it's when you've entrusted someone with something, whether that's your property or a promise or your time or anything. If you entrusted someone with something and they go against it, or they don't fulfill that trust or that promise, and they don't have a valid excuse or a valid reason, and they don't be honest about it. Like, for example, people mess up. It's perfectly fine to make mistakes and do wrong. But if you try to hide it and don't come clean, that would completely wipe out that trust I have within you. And I will no longer consider you to be a loyal person. You'd have to build that back up. And as we know, it's very hard to build loyalty, build trust.
Definitely.
Like me personally, it's very hard for me to pick out a scenario to say where someone's been disloyal to me. I can probably pick out.
He just cuts them off.
I can probably pick out times when I felt I've been disloyal to people.
Is it?
But I think personally,
Watch your back, bro.
I think personally, like, I keep really high standards for myself as an individual.
Yeah.
Like, I keep really high barriers and a solid filtering system,
So
whereby I really, it's really hard to get into my personal space and get to know me, and for me to even trust you. Like, if I don't expect things from people anyways, from many people. So if I don't have that expectation of loyalty, then really and truly, in effect, I'm not going to experience, someone being disloyal to me, because I never expected it in the first place.
That's like what Gary Vee says all the time about have no expectations and you'll be a happier person.
Yeah.
It's solid, man.
Islamically, it's true as well.
It is, yeah.
Islamically, you're told to not rely on anyone but Allah.
Yeah.
So why would you put your trust in another human being? Like, human beings have been made to be imperfect. There was only ever one perfect person in the world, and that was Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So who are you to, like, rely on someone, bro? Like, just think about that.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, don't rely on your parents either, man. There's parents out there who have not even kept their child upright, or there's people out there, parents out there, who just brought kids into the world because it benefits them through the government. It's like even us as people, as amazing as our parents are, you don't trust them. On the day of judgment, they're going to leave you. It's like,
That's
even
the
now,
truth.
man.
It's like the other day I was speaking to my sister about amana, like how telling someone to keep a promise of yours is becomes your amana, and if you break that, you are physically allowed to disown them as a person to you, as a close person to you, Islamically speaking. So imagine if I told like one of you guys a secret, or you guys knew something about me and I told you, look, this is a promise you can't break. That is literally your amana. That is your duty to never break that, like ever.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of loyalty. I actually wanted to ask this question of loyalty. Do you think it's hard to be a loyal person, or do you think it's an attribute?
I think it's hard.
It's not hard.
I think it's hard, bro. Think about it, man. Like the amount of information you take in on a day. There's different types of loyalties, yeah. So you get the mutual understandings, like with your colleagues or your classmates. Then you get the contractual loyalties when you're working in business and you have contracts, and then you have your verbal agreements as well. And additionally to that, there's so many different types of loyalties that you have. So to upkeep all of them is like juggling 100 balls.
I think we're complicating loyalty, man. Like you gave the different examples, right? To me, that's all the same thing. Like it's all about relationship. Loyalty, in a sense, is just how valuable you find someone enough to be trustworthy with them. I think it's just a fancy word,
but
right?
let me put it this way.
Before you go into yours, let me explain mine. So when it comes down to loyalty, if you have a friend, for example, me and you, right, or us three as brothers. Now, I value you guys because I work with you on a professional basis, but as well as that, you're my friends, my closest friends. Now, if I'm discussing anything business with you, or if I'm discussing anything personal with you, it's going to be the same thing. Like they're both going to be the same. But then at work, right, you're talking about contractual loyalty. Now, being loyal to work, for what reason, other than whether that business is also taking care of you, do you need to be loyal? You don't, right? But this is where my point comes in. You still value yourself, where you're talking earlier, and your morals and standards. So if you have higher morals and standards for yourself, you're going to be loyal to work. So for me, it's how much do you value yourself to be loyal to your friendships and relationships. Yeah. So it can't be hard that way. If you value yourself, you're going to value everything else.
And as we all know, be loyal to your barber. Right?
No, that's where I draw the line.
We might be able to say that it's easy for us because maybe we've built it over time, or maybe you built it over time.
No. But just so you understand, I don't think it's just easy for us. I think it should be easy for everyone. That's my personal opinion. It should
so
be
it's an
easy
attribute. You have to acquire it and then see it as easy, right?
Because let me put it this way, yeah. So as humans, we all know that we have innate desires within us. We want things out of this life, and there'll be times in your life, no doubt it's already happened in your life, where you've come to a crossroads, where you can either get what you want, it's right there in front of you, but you got to sacrifice someone, or do something that you know is going to negatively harm or affect someone else. And in that moment, is it not hard to upkeep that loyalty?
No.
There's something right there in front of you that you know you desire, that you've wanted for your entire life, is right there, but you got to maybe stop talking to this person or not pay this person's money back because you want to buy that in that moment.
It's about your value.
Is there no
compass?
Yeah, of course. But is there not that conflict going in your head, like, oh, I can get that thing, I can buy that money instead of paying this guy his £100 back? Buy
that money. All right, now listen.
But I'm just saying, what I'm trying to say is that conflict is always in your head.
I agree with that.
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, it sometimes is difficult to make that decision, and you have to upkeep this like you said, you're loyal every single day. So sometimes that conflict is going to come up in your mind every single day. And for you, you've built it up. Whereas for some people, it's a lot harder.
Now, I completely understand where you're coming from, which was I was giving you an answer. But in my mind, and from what I know of other people, it depends on what it is. Now, do you know how I was talking earlier about how loyalty is a very watered down thing? Like, I don't think it is. It's a combination of different things, right? Now, I personally don't think loyalty can be 100%. I think it has to be spread across different things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can be loyal to your football team, but you might not be loyal to... You might be bad at relationships, so you're not loyal in relationships. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's just a little... Like, I know guys who will die for their team, but wouldn't die for their partner. Like, it's as simple as that. But if your story or your scenario that you were just discussing...
It's just one scenario.
Yeah, it's just that one scenario.
Yeah.
It depends what's on the line.
Okay, I'm talking about loyalty as a whole. Okay, let me put it this way, yeah. Let me put a stat to you, yeah. Let me put a stat out there, yeah.
Please.
Loyalty. When you say that word, one of the first things that pops to people's head is relationships, marriages. What is the divorce rate? It is crazy high. I've got one here in front of me. In the US, the divorce rate is 50%. Most divorces happen because there's been some kind of disloyalty happening within the relationship. And this is where I'm coming from. Like, for you, yes, it might be easy. For us, yes, it might be easy. A lot of our listeners, it's going to be easy because, alhamdulillah, I would like to think that we've been brought up in a good culture, in a good family. But generally speaking, once we get out in the world and we're exposed to the world, it becomes harder and harder and harder.
So
It
that
speaks a lot about people, doesn't it?
That's it, yeah, and I think it goes back to the point when I defined loyalty. It's we mentioned religion and we mentioned culture and countries and you know, people around you. But I think, as philosophers said, I strongly believe that what philosophers said, loyalty can only be connected to a person, to a human being. You can't connect it to a cat or a tree or anything else, or your car or your football team. You can only connect it to a person. So that's where I strongly believe what you're talking about, how loyalty, you can sometimes contradict yourself. But at the same time, would you say being loyal to a person, to a partner, to your mum, to your dad, to your friend, to be considered hard? That's the question.
So personally, I don't find it hard. But I think in general, it is hard.
And of course, as we're human beings, and you guys mentioned earlier, we make mistakes. So I've got a question for Adil, because Adil was always good at mending things and you know, making things better. If someone wanted to arise,
you're an electrician, bro. You should be good at fixing things.
You bring that light in the room. If someone wanted to arise from their position and build back their trust and reputation amongst their friends, let's say that person broke loyalty, in any way, shape or form. They came to you for advice and they said, how do I gain that trust and that loyalty back? What would you say?
Actions speak louder than words. I'm going to give an example that you guys are going to laugh at. But have you ever watched Prison Break?
Yeah.
Fernando Sucre.
Fernando Sucre is the most loyal guy
man I've ever seen. Even though he's a fictional character, he's the most loyal person you can ever find.
I was thinking about that the other day as well.
So with Fernando Sucre, right, he did break trust with them. In the show, he broke trust with them, but his actions spoke louder than his words. He came back and he said, "We've both got the same end goal. I'm gonna show you that I'm ready to die for this cause." So the same thing, if you're in a relationship, right, and just say either one, the male or the female, has an ex-partner or friend get into their life and get in contact with them, and they message that person back, right? That's being disloyal to your partner, right?
Nice.
But in that moment, it could be in a rush of feelings or misjudgment, but then their actions can speak louder than their words in their conversation with you. Because I think when it comes down to loyalty, there's an element of maturity that has to come into it. And even if there's a bit of disloyalty, you have to be mature enough to mend it, because being loyal to each other even goes beyond mistakes.
That's true.
It's not just, I made a mistake now, this person made a mistake, it's over. No. The loyalty comes in how mature can you be to fix a situation. So I believe it's always mendable or fixable, whatever word you want to use.
Through your actions.
But be mature.
Yeah.
And
I'd actually add on top of that as well, and I would say I would acknowledge that I done wrong. So if I did break someone's trust or was disloyal, I would acknowledge that I was wrong, and I would apologise for it. Because I feel like every single human being has an ounce of like pity for someone. Like if someone came to you and said, "Look, I'm genuinely sorry that I broke your trust, I was disloyal," it's 9 times out of 10 we would forgive them and say, "You know what, I'm going to grant you that back over a stage of time, over a process." And again, your actions speak louder than words would come into place. If the person doesn't act upon that and prove that they're loyal, then you're not going to trust them again. No. But if they do, then it might actually create a better funnel for yourself.
I think though sometimes with loyalty, we give too much away. in the sense that we place so much loyalty, so much trust in a particular individual that we have practically given them our entire heart in their hands, and we've let them do whatever they want with it. And once they have done whatever they wanted to do with it, been disloyal towards you, how do you come back from that? Like, it's such a hard place to rise back from, for that person as well, if they want to come back in your life, and also for you. Like, that's a whole lot of fixing. That heart's been crushed. I'm not talking about just relationships here. I'm talking about any type of relationship, not just romantic, like, you know, friendships, siblings, parents, anything. And sometimes, a lot of the times, I think everyone probably goes through it at least once in their life, because they don't realise, they're quite naive to it.
Yeah, that it's possible to have your loyalty broken, kind of thing. I love the fact that this Roots to Righteous character series intertwines a lot with the previous series that we've had, episode that we had, Decisiveness. And that ties in massively with this, because you said if someone breaks your loyalty, how do you get out of that? And that's when you need to watch our last episode, Decisiveness, and you make a good decision if it's better or worse for you. One piece of advice would be weigh out the good and the bad. How bad was the disloyalty from that person or within yourself? And if it's way worse than what good can come in the future, then you know that you just got to drop it there and then and move on. And if it's the other way around, then you forgive, you forget, and you move on, inshallah. Have any of you got any personal stories or any personal examples of how you're loyal? Any personal stories from the past? Proving your loyalty, apart from Liverpool Football Club,
because they don't deserve no one's loyalty.
Alright, so personally, when it comes down to loyalty, a personal story for me would be friendships. So, how do I say this story?
Did you get your heart broken?
No, it's actually done with well, it's friendship, but rather than does it have to be a personal story?
Preferably yes, because it proves that you're a loyal person.
Okay.
If not, then you can give an example of someone else being loyal to you even.
I know. I'm gonna talk about me personally being loyal, but I'm going to make a radio-friendly version of it.
Please.
So, a friend of mine, obviously we know that we got the social media era at the moment, and so basically a friend of mine got messaged by another person being quite aggressive, saying they're going to do such and such things to my friend. And it got to a point where my friend retaliated back by giving alternative or using different methods of replying back to the person, right? Anyways,
so
fruitful language.
So yeah. Anyways, it came down to it. That guy got a bunch of his mates, came down to a gym, and said that they're gonna rearrange my friend's face.
Okay.
Yeah. So, being the loyal friend I am, I was there to make sure that it didn't become worse than it was. Because my friend's a very hot-headed person and will get himself into a lot of trouble. And he has a lot of, he has pride when it comes down to his manhood, being masculine.
Alpha male, yeah?
Yeah.
And violence is not the answer, right? Would you agree?
Yeah. And so, luckily, a few of my beta qualities came through and eased the situation.
Oh, God.
I'm quite an alpha male, but I got a few beta qualities. But yeah, I was there for my friend and I managed to make sure that nothing happened to him. So that's my loyalty. Like, I put an easy run.
I have a personal story, quite the opposite of you. I'm quite completely opposite. But the reason I really don't want to share this story, but the purpose of it, the reason I will share it is because I want to show you the other side, the flip side. So this is a story this is something that I went through or that happened, must have been year 9, year 10. So how old are you in year 9, year 10? You're about, what, 14?
13, yeah.
So almost 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And still to this day, he eats me up alive. Because I was disloyal to my friend. And it wasn't because I wanted to be disloyal, it's because I didn't have the courage to be loyal. Now this is a friend that I had since year 4, so from year 4 to year 9, was that 5 years of friendship at that
That's
point.
From primary to secondary.
He was basically
solid, yeah.
He was basically like one of my first friends.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was within my friendship group from year 4, yeah. So friends for 5 years, And being the geeky nerds we used to get picked on quite a bit. But he got picked on a lot more than me. And I remember 2 scenarios in particular. The first one was, it was his birthday. We had come out of form, you know, where they do the register after like lunchtime and stuff. We come out and it was his birthday, and all of the guys from our class just beat him, like in the excuse of birthday punches. And I watched it happen. I just walked away because I was like, oh, I'm a small guy, I'm a skinny guy, I'm a frail guy. What am I gonna do? And I just watched it happen. I was disloyal to my friend. And another scenario was, we were outside in the playground, same friend, and same guys bullying him. They poured like Coke and Dr. Pepper and whatnot. And again, I just stood there and did nothing. And it eats me up every single day, every single day. Every time that memory comes in my head, every time his name pops up, every time I speak to him, the same thing comes up. Now, he doesn't hold me against it because I think he understood that at that time I didn't have the courage.
It's a long time ago as well. And you're very young.
But you see, it affects you. It affects you to such a deep level. And I would say that it has helped me that if I was ever to see someone getting oppressed in such a manner, whether they're my friend or not, like I would stand up for them. And this is where different levels of loyalty come. So in that case, he was my friend. I should have been loyal towards him. I should have stood up for him and stopped it happening. But also, like in the street, if someone's getting beaten up, I don't know them, they're a stranger, I should be loyal to them on a human-to-human basis. We are humans. I will be loyal to you because we're humankind. We have a human relationship.
Definitely.
Regardless if I don't know you, regardless of race, religion, faith, whatever. And I kid you not, like it haunts me. Like I've never even spoke to him about it. I really should speak to him about it. Get it off my chest.
I think you
yeah,
should
we're still friends. We've still spoken and we've worked together on certain projects and stuff.
Do I know him?
Let's not be nosy. Yeah, but I think you should get it off your chest.
I'm telling you guys.
It's a long time ago.
It's a long time ago. I was a young
you're
child.
holding yourself. I think you're being a bit too harsh.
I think I am being a bit too harsh, but I'm trying to get the point across. Like that moment of disloyalty on your part, it could turn into regret like that lasts your entire life. And it's just not worth it, man. Honestly, it's just not worth it, man.
Damn, I hope the guys... I was bullied in school, innit? I hope the guys that were my mates at the time feel regret. Like, yo, you're not going to back your boy?
Funniest thing is I'm here asking you like questions about personal stories about loyalty. He comes out that nice, you know, I'm loyal like this, and SA goes, I'm disloyal, man. I'm not loyal.
But you see, but I was disloyal. I was disloyal out of fear and not having the courage to be loyal. Like, this is why I say, again, being loyal is hard. It requires so much courage. Because no doubt I would have no doubt got beaten up. There's a hands down. Back in those days, I had no ability to fight, no ability to like.
Just back in the day.
Yeah, just back in the day. Like there was no chance. And in that moment, it was like, do I get beat up, stand up, my friend, be loyal, or do I just walk away and look after make sure my body and my face is all nice and you know I don't get coke poured over me. But yeah, that's a
beautiful story.
That's the tragedies, man.
I'm gonna be nice to you here. You're being loyal to your mother because she would not like to see you beat up. Do you know what I mean?
Don't try to flip it.
So we're going to move on now and go to the Waves of Positivity's community Instagram responses. So yeah, you can catch us on Instagram at Waves of Positivity Official and engage with us for the future workshops, podcast events that we have. And you're listening to Roots of Righteous Character on Radio Sira. So the first response that we had, guys, was with Ebby, Mr. Ebby VXII. He said loyalty is doing right by a person even when doing wrong by them is easier. That is, loyalty is doing right by a person even when doing wrong by them is easier. That's like poetry, that.
That is. It's poetry, and it's relatable for Mr. SA over here.
Yeah, it is kind of relatable, yeah. Because it's literally loyalty is doing something right by a person, even which doing wrong by them is easier. So it's like, the meaning of that realistically is thick and thin. I've been with you through thick and thin. Yeah. So you can walk away from a situation that is so easy to help out with, or you can go turn towards someone and help someone, be loyal to them, even if it's such a difficult situation or it's something that's wrong, realistically.
The best way to look at what he was saying there, the poetry, is how much are you willing to risk for another human? Like, how much of yourself are you willing to give up for another person? And the way I like to look at that is, if someone was to have a gun pointed at your friend right now, would you be willing to risk your life to save them?
Mm-hmm.
And that's as easy as it is, because that's life or death on the line, and my love and loyalty to you is that I'm willing to sacrifice myself for you.
Yeah, that leads on to Dean's 970's response about going through thick and thin, good and bad together, always have each other's backs, whatever the situation. That ties in. I think that's the cliche visual of a married couple or a close, intimate relationship with someone. I feel like that is the definition of it. Like, I'm here. We're ride or die. That's like the always the same saying.
I like to think that's related to
brotherhood as well. Definitely.
I think a lot of
my boys, bro. Like, I'm willing
you
to
do whatever you want.
man.
Yeah.
Think about your parents right now. If they called you whilst we're on this radio show and said to you, look, I need help with this thing, it's pretty urgent, you'd be like, okay, look, you two continue, I'm going to go. More time, because we're loyal to you, you'd be like, all right, let's pack it up and we'll help you as well, because we're loyal to you like that. So it's that position of going through thick and thin with someone without ever regretting doing that act of loyalty. Like, okay, I have to take the day off because I have to go visit someone in hospital, for example. Like, you're not going to look back and be like, oh, I missed out on work, I missed out on this motive. You're going to be like, no, this is my loyalty, this is where my happiness is, because I am loyal to this person. We have another one by Aisha. She said, someone that's true to their word, shows respect and honours values. Say, what do you think of that?
Sorry, repeat that for me, please.
It's someone that's true to their word, shows respect and honours their values.
Honours their value. I love that. I think loyalty is one of the fundamental characteristics of what we would describe as an honourable man or woman. And if you're able to be loyal, then I think being honourable almost comes as like a sub benefit of it. Like, it's half of it, I would say, almost.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, totally agree with that. I love it.
Definitely. Now that we've spoken a lot about loyalty today and real examples, our personal stories, good and bad side of it, I want to talk about the Islamic sort of twist with it as well. Do any of you have a hadith or Quranic verse or Quranic poetry or anything to Islam related to loyalty or something around loyalty? Because I know it's a very, very niche topic, so it might be hard to find a reference out there. But something that matches it and something that's beautiful about it that we are taught as Muslims.
So obviously, we mentioned earlier that, the highest level or the most important level of loyalty is to our Lord, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But he also mentions, Allah says in the Quran multiple times about being loyal to our brethren, our brothers and sisters in Islam. He says in Surah Tawbah, I've got it in front of me, he says, the believing men and believing women are allies of one another. And we see time and time again that unity is a reoccurring theme in the Quran, reoccurring theme in Islam. And a lot of the people today say that the reason that the Ummah is sort of struggling in today's day and age, I have so many issues around the world, when you look at war-torn countries or poverty, it's because of the disunity that is amongst the Ummah. And if we're able to, loyalty ties in with unity, basically, because we realise that we are brothers and sisters in Islam, and there's a form of loyalty. There's a hadith that says when one Muslim is in pain, then we're like a body. Then we're like a body. Like one arm hurts, then the brain hurts, etc. I'm trying to say. So if we always thinking about that, then we know that that they're feeling some kind of pain. I need to show my loyalty as brothers. Allah said we're brothers and sisters, so I need to show some loyalty towards them. I need to do whatever I can to help them, and we need to stand together for the people that are being oppressed or the people that are in need. And I think Islam puts it together so beautifully, so beautifully, that we just overlook it, because it sets it out in a black and white. Look after your brother, and Allah will look after you. Simple as. But we find it difficult. We find it difficult as humans, unfortunately.
Yeah, I love the Islamic touch to stuff, because we just look back at our Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his loyalty with his people around him, the Sahabas, and most importantly Abu Bakr, radiallahu anhu, how loyal they were with each other, like from thick, and he was loyal as well.
You just yearn for those kind of relationships,
and that's exactly what this series is about, roots to righteous character, because we're digging deep into the roots and trying to bring that back into our society and for the next generation, inshallah. Adu, have you got anything Islamically related, hadith?
Yeah. So I'll be honest with you, I googled Quranic verse about loyalty, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the first one that came up was, and it's like straight to the point, like I don't need to find anything else. Allah said, "O ye who believe, obey God and obey the Prophet and obey those in authority among you. Like it just, and I think this is where loyalty comes in as well. It's like obedience for a relationship with someone. Like all of these things, they intertwine. And I stated at the beginning of the show, if you are to be loyal to someone, there's so many factors that come amongst that loyalty, because loyalty is a reference to actions for someone. So obedience, your parents, your mum or your dad, you have to listen to them. It can be like the obedience to your friends. Like if your friend asks you for help or for something, then you need to do it. Or even if it's just your school, or if it's, for example, your workplace, listening to the rules set out, that is a form of loyalty.
Most definitely. Anything else that you guys want to discuss with regards to loyalty? Anything that we might have missed during this period?
What I would love to say, loyalty, it comes from love. Like I genuinely, truly believe that. If you find yourself to have love for someone, you will be loyal to them. And I think if we upkeep that level of love, then that loyalty kind of naturally comes into place. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, we have a lot of love for each other, for our friends. So we will always look out for each other's best interests. Same with our parents, same with our family. And so when we look at this from an Islamic perspective, we need to start to build our love for the Quran, something that I really, really need to work on. We need to start to build our love for the Prophet ﷺ, for the Sahaba, and most importantly for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And once we build those different connections of love, like our loyalty to these people and to Allah, it will just skyrocket. And I just see it as like life will just be so much more easier, because I think loyalty is give and take. You give loyalty to someone, you'll get it back, and that's basically how it works.
You brought me onto my perfect point. This is going away from the Islamic point of view. It's just like
that's totally fine.
Normal human behavior points of view. So there's studies being run on how to build customer loyalty. Like that's where a factor comes in, right? So in terms of customer loyalty, the one way you gain it is by giving your customers more than what they wanted. Because they're coming back for more. It's like, and this is not about loyalty, but this is about human behavior, and then I'll go back to make my main point. So if you want someone to like you, the first time you meet them, you give them something that they were not ready for. Say for example, you meet your mother-in-law. You take flowers beforehand, or you'll take a gift, right? So even a normal friend then. So if you meet your boys, you're going to the restaurant or something, before you go into the restaurant, you give them each sweets. That puts a positive reinforcement into their mind that this guy's nice. Like,
value galore, yeah.
Yeah, I say does it all the time, man. He always comes with sweets in his hand.
I love my sweets.
So even the same thing with customer loyalty. It's when a customer comes into store, number one, they're looking to how was the environment, or how is the situation? Was it nice for me, number one? Is it something that I can show off? Yeah. But then also, how much more did they do for me? And then you can tell your friends and family, oh, listen, I went to Aston Martin, yeah? And you know what? They gave me this really nice key, and it's a lovely box. Look at this box. Like, that builds customer loyalty, because I'm getting more than I came for. So that same thing you want to put in action with your relationships with your friends and family, it's give more.
You can influence.
Keep giving, because a person will react in a positive way, that they want to give you more, because my friend's doing so much for me, I need to do so much for them. That builds that loyalty.
You can it's like almost like influencing loyalty back towards you.
100%. I think your favourite trio, I'm talking to the audience by the way, your favourite trio have been inspiring you today. So we've got another beautiful question by Nizam that has said, do you have to be loyal to anyone? Why can't you be loyal to yourself and Allah only? I will let you guys answer that, and then I'll add my 2 pence on afterwards. Go on, Essay.
I feel like I've touched upon it already. I do believe that. So the loyalty towards other people, I think, comes naturally. Like if you're loyal to Allah, you're loyal to His religion, you're loyal to His Prophet, and you're from that. Like it tells you to be loyal to other people. It tells you to look after the people and care for other people. So I think naturally, it just falls into place like automatically. So let's say, for example, if you're a person, you've never had contact with another human being, you just have the Quran in front of you, it tells you to follow his religion, and he's always talking about looking after your brother, your neighbours and stuff. Once you do expose yourself to the people, naturally you will be loyal to them people, you will look after them. So I think it comes in naturally anyways, being loyal to others.
What I was going to say, being loyal to people is being loyal to Allah.
Yeah.
You're following the footsteps of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was never rude or mean to no person in his life. Even his enemies, he went as far as being kind and gracious with them. In the face of defeat after the war, and when the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam came back to Mecca, he told the Muslims, do not harm a single one of these people. They will leave graciously, and we will not disrespect them. Like that shows you how you want to act in this world. Like, we're so quick to want to take another person down or be mean or cruel to another person, but being loyal to your friends and family comes from following the footsteps of the Prophet ﷺ and acting upon the Quran. And like I just mentioned earlier with my Quranic verse, he says, be loyal or obedient to those above you. Now, I'm not saying that we're better than anyone, but if you act in the way of the Prophet ﷺ, where the Prophet ﷺ never even said he was better than any of those people knew who he was because of his actions. They said, I can never be a man like him, so I know he's a prophet of God. So
that's amazing.
That's my advice.
Yeah, that was going to be my advice as well. Like, it's our duty as Muslims to...
There's not much you can really say to that, is it?
It's realistically, yes. Priority is be loyal to Allah. If you're not loyal with Allah, then you won't be loyal with people. It's straight up, yeah? But it is our duty to look after Allah's creation, look after His... the Prophet ﷺ's ummah, our parents, our family members, it's all written like for us, like Jannah lies under the feet of your mother. If you're not loyal to her, then you're not basically practicing your deen, and being respectful to your father is the key to Jannah. So it's like, if you're not practicing these things that we are supposed to do.
It's, what, now that you mentioned that, it's kind of beautiful.
It's beautiful, yeah.
Like every single loyalty that you have, there's a gift behind it at the end of the day. So wow, that's incentives to be loyal to people, I guess. Yeah,
that's exactly what I'm saying.
I think I just want to touch upon the causes of disloyalty. Like, to me, in my opinion, I think one of the main causes of disloyalty is people's desire. Like, they're trying to gain something in this world to fulfill a desire. And I think that's the root cause of the problem. So I think we're going to talk about this in our podcast in one of the next
after you see this
in one of our upcoming episodes. We're going to talk about desires in a lot more detail, but I think the fundamental issue comes down to this: are you able to control your desires? Because if you're a slave to desires, then you will only be loyal to your desires, and if you're loyal to your desires, you'll be loyal to no one and nothing else. And I think that's what it is essentially.
That's a banging point, that is.
Yeah, definitely. Actually, I've got one more point to make from Nizam's question. Islamically, again, Islamic straight. Like when you learn about your deen more, things make so much sense. Alhamdulillah, I'm glad I've learned this. It's the only time you are disloyal to your family or to your parents is if they turn you away from Allah.
Yeah.
That's what's like amazing about all of it. It's like, yes, like, so that answers the question perfectly. We should only be loyal to Allah first. So to an extent that even when we are told to respect our parents, even Islamically it is taught to non-Muslims that they need to respect their parents, like to that core of like knowledge. So until our parents like try to tell you don't pray namaz, you can't fast, you can't wear hijab, or you can't do this and that, that is when you can be disloyal to them and dislike, not be obedient to them as well. So I think that's like a good point to mention as well. So obviously we never finish Waves of Positivity's exclusive radio show without giving some solution or advice based on loyalty. I was going to ask Adil, how does someone become trustworthy with their family and friends? So they haven't broken any trust, but they want to become loyal. What core steps and motivation would you give them that this is what you need to do to become loyal with your family and friends?
Before you even go into that, really like see how far is your relationship with that person, like with your family and friends. Like with family, do you have a good relationship with your parents? If not, build that first. Like you want to build that relationship first before you can build the loyalty. And then with your friends, of course, you haven't been disloyal to them, but you want to build your loyalty. Give them more, man. Just give them more. Give them your heart. Like go out of your way to create memories with them that creates a bond. Like eat food with them, go on excursions, give them gifts. Like
Yeah.
you're not buying your loyalty, but you're showing your love for them.
Actions
Like I
speak
say,
louder than
said
words, yeah.
beautifully. Yeah. like I say, said beautifully. Like loyalty is a form of love. Like you don't give your loyalty to anyone and everyone.
It's
Like,
exclusive.
It is. It is built through a love, trust, and a relationship with a person. So you want to build your loyalty with family and friends. Do good by them. That's my advice. Do good by them. Donate to charity for them. Buy their favorite foods sometimes and eat it together, or show that you listen to them. Like that's where it comes into. Like just show you're paying attention and do
Two
good by
ears,
them.
one mouth. That saying, you listen more than you speak.
Yeah.
I'm expecting a fat watermelon from you, idea.
To touch off on that, I found 7 loyalty traits of a good friend online from a blog called Zeusk.
This is gonna show him that, like, you know.
Yeah, this is going to show, and I think it really touches up on your answer there. So these are seven steps. These are to celebrate each other's success, to always keep it real, to always make up after you argue or after you have a dispute, to stand by each other, and to stand up for each other. They set each other respect for each other's boundaries, so you give each other space, time, and understand each other's beliefs, etc. And finally, they stay invested in their friendship, so they always put effort in their friendship, in their loyalty, checking up on one's mental health, and etc. I'd like to add one more to that, to make it 8, is to improve the other person's deen. I think that's the best loyalty you can have with someone.
Wow.
If you want to be a good friend, if you want to be loyal, you won't judge or point a finger at them in a sense that, oh, look at you, you're doing something haram, what's wrong with you, why are you starting to do this, why are you starting to do that. More time it would be to do with bettering the person. You didn't fast on these 2 days in Ramadan, why didn't you not fast, bro? Let me help you out. Or we went to pre-salah today, why didn't you come pray? Let me help you out.
Hey, this reminds me.
That is loyalty.
Do you remember when we were filming together one time, and
Yeah.
then we stopped to pray Zahar, and after praying Salah,
Yeah.
SA was like, yo, honestly, I believe Salah's the reason we're still together as a group.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
Yeah.
the reason we've had any success is because of Salah. And
Yeah,
like,
we even
I
said this
truly- I
on our
truly
trip to
believe
Brighton
it.
as well. We
Like-
said the same thing.
Yeah.
Bro,
We said
I
that
truly
playing Salah,
believe
like,
it.
or even practicing as well. Salah as well as practicing, as well as keeping each other on good terms. Always making sure the other person doesn't slack in their deen specifically. That's what keeps you close.
we could even go on and say that Allah has built the loyalty between us.
Definitely. But it's true.
Yeah.
Like, you keep good friends around you, and your energy. Like, bad friendships don't last realistically. Toxic friendships don't last. There's always an end to them. But good friendships, the only thing that separates you is death, and inshallah you meet again in the hereafter. But I don't want to go too deep into that right now. Do you guys have any one-liners?
I have this is a quote that I wanted to share with you guys. So it says, "Nothing is more noble and nothing is more vulnerable than loyalty." And what this is showing is that there's two sides to it. Firstly, that it is such an amazing aspect, attribute, quality to have. It's honorable. It's amazing. We should all aspire to be loyal towards the people around us, and we should expect loyalty from people. But at the same time, it's something that puts you in such a vulnerable state. Like I said, it's almost like giving the other person your heart. And so it puts you in this very, very this awkward scenario almost. But if you're able to bring your loyalty to the table and understand people and build your resilience and build your awareness, it will put you in a beautiful position in life. Because when someone does break your trust or is disloyal towards you, you have already built up some kind of way to overcome it. So when it does happen, you're prepared. You're mitigating for that circumstance, for that almost inevitable thing to happen, because it will happen to us from someone at some point in our lives.
Beautiful answer. I thought you were going to continue, and I was like, I was kind of stargazing at what you were saying. Alhamdulillah. Beautiful answer. What a way to finish off the Roots to Righteous character series. Ado, any one-liner that you have? I've already said mine, and the essay said his. Piece of advice.
One line,
anything?
yeah?
Let's go ahead. Let's do it. I know you've got plenty. Just choose one.
Nothing speaks louder of your character than your loyalty.
Beautiful. Alhamdulillah.
Is that a good one line?
Yeah. Nothing speaks louder of your character than loyalty.
Oh yeah, I think
Yeah.
that goes on Waves of Positivity record for the first time. One-liners being actually one line.
One-liners,
So
yeah.
congratulations
But
to you,
yeah,
Adil.
actual one-liners. We should celebrate that. Alhamdulillah. Thank you all for listening to the Roots to Righteous Character by Waves of Positivity, your favourite trio on Radio Sira 1575 AM. Don't forget to check us out on Instagram at Waves of Positivity Official, on YouTube as well, Waves of Positivity, and on Twitter _WAP Official. Jazakallah khair and have an amazing weekend. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.